Hey allies, we're back and we have a fresh take on the podcast. We have rebranded, as you might have noticed. The new title is Allyship in Action. And really to emphasize that allyship is a verb, not a noun, much like we've talked about over the years as we've shared stories, tools, ideas. That will be consistent as far as format. We'll continue to interview experts, book authors, allies, everyday leaders that are intentional and consistent about their allyship actions. So continue to expect the same great content under a new umbrella name that is also synergistic with my past book, Allyship in Action, with 10 Practices to Live Inclusively. And as we prepare for the 2025 wild year that it has certainly become, with a lot of anti-DEI pushback, executive orders, corporate confusion, and just confusion amongst us, that it was an important moment in history to really hit pause, think about what really works and what is really going to work for diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, culture, inclusive leadership, allyship, all the buzzwords, all the things. What's the common ingredient that really works and unifies us all, even in these hyper polarizing times? And what I keep going back to in the work that we do with corporate leaders, the work I do for my Forbes column, the work I've done over the many, many years with this podcast, is it's about active allyship. It's about people with power leaning into the power of allyship. And so what you're going to find is we're going to raise the stakes a little bit on our expectations for listeners to take away. Much more targeted key learnings. We'll be highlighting those in the show notes, and we'll be raising the bar on the guests that we interview. We have a chance now to amplify the voices of folks that really have been doing this work for many, many years in their own careers and their own thought expertise and leadership. And so I'm excited to bring to you an elevated space of content. We're going to keep the episodes intentionally short, 20-ish minutes. We're going to do our best. Some conversations are harder to manage than others, and some just have too much good content to shorten it and to do it justice. So we'll aim for the 20-minute mark. So my goal is, if you can pop in your earbuds on a walk, I take a neighborhood walk almost every day, 20 minutes, rain or shine, dark or dusk, sometimes just for my mental health and well-being. So this is something you can easily digest in a short walk outside if you're able to do that, or maybe in a car ride. Most of us, have 20-minute errands, 20-minute car rides back and forth to work, or shuttling the kiddos or family members around if you're a caregiver. So my hope is you can commit 20 minutes a week. We will drop an episode every week. Most episodes will be with guests. So if you or someone you know would be a wonderful guest, we would love thought leaders, especially senior leaders, corporate leaders that are embedded in diversity, equity, and inclusion, allyship, inclusive leadership work. We would love to hear from folks. And again, I hope you'll find elevated content, people deep in this work with unconventional, strategic ideas to propel this conversation forward now more than ever. So that is our goal for the upcoming episodes on the podcast. In August, we will be hosting our International Allyship Day, our flagship event, our signature event. The second annual International Allyship Day will be in New York City, August 8th. You can check out nextpivotpoint.com to learn more about that. We're currently looking for sponsors and table hosts. So if your organization would like to have a meaningful contribution to allyship this year, that is a wonderful way to do it. And we will be launching our next book. We Want You, an allyship guide for people with power. And so you're going to see me talk about that, jump in a few solo episodes. I'll be sharing, behind the scenes research. I conducted over 50 interviews for this book. And so you'll see what I'm learning as I'm writing, as I'm sharing, as we're preparing for that book launch date, which coincides with International Allyship Day, which is super exciting. So August 8th will be a special day for us to look forward to, listeners. So mark your calendar. You can also participate in International Allyship Day and help support this podcast, our new book, virtually even. So we will have virtual watch parties in addition to virtual attendance. So you can, if you can't make it to New York City, you can always support us from abroad. And more importantly, invite other people inside your organization that you know need to be a part of this conversation. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they're nervous. Maybe they think DEI is mistakenly over. We're just at a pivot point. We are certainly navigating a lot of unfair hardship that is very real. And what I know about this work is we take steps forward and we usually take a step back. And we will be ready to take those steps forward together. But we have to engage people with power as allies. I think this has been a huge miss over the years as somebody that's spoken about allyship, inclusive leadership, that it is for everyone. Somehow that seems to have missed the mark. And so this backlash, this continued pushback that's really been manifesting for years, I think the remedy, the antidote to it, is to really purposely include people with power, help them understand their role as allies, and know that we can accomplish way more if we have the collective representation of the communities we hope to serve. Why wouldn't we want to be good stewards of the communities we hope to serve and resemble and mirror them at every level of our organization? And that means we need to pivot towards more inclusive culture and allyship work, because no workplace, no corporate environment is as inclusive as it possibly could be. My team certainly has an opportunity to be more inclusive, and we live and breathe this work every day. So with that said, please share the podcast. If you get enjoyment out of this, it's going to get even better, I promise. We're going to have amazing guests. We're going to have some really pertinent thought leadership. And I'm going to give you some behind the scenes look into International Allyship Day and our new book, We Want You, an Allyship Guide for People with Power. So follow us. You can get all the transcripts, all the files, all the things at nextpivotpoint.com/podcast. And you can also download free training and resources there as well. And last call to action, listeners, if you like this content, if your organization struggles with this, please, let's find time to talk if we haven't yet already. This is exactly what my team does. So we would love to book time with you to chat about what this could look like at your organization. Again, all of these things you can find right at nextpivotpoint.com. All right, cheers to this next pivot point and to more allies in action with our new podcast name, Allyship in Action.